Yeah, and I didn't press the share screen button anyway, so you heard the music, but you didn't see that little video that I had going on. So welcome everyone to Transformational Tuesdays. I'm Teresa Velardi, your host for this time of inspiration, education, motivation, and conversation focused on key ingredients necessary to create positive change in your life, which is, of course, called transformation. Now, I started this conversation of transformation, if you will, back in 2011, I think, maybe 2011. And we were going for about 2 years, and I decided to take a sabbatical and change the format a bit. So during this new venture, which we started in September of 2015, bringing you really incredible guests, we launched, and then we turned into a video platform. So not only do you get the opportunity to hear our incredible guests, which Adrienne Graham is our guest for today, and I can't wait to introduce her, you get to see them. So, and it's awesome that hearing you on the calls each week, as I did on the phone when we were doing the teleconferences, I get to see your beautiful faces. So welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Transformational Tuesdays. And today I want to introduce Adrienne Graham. She has been with us before and brought us such great information. I had to invite her to come back. She's like one of the savviest business women that I know, and I am excited for all that is ahead for you today and all that is ahead for me and Adrienne, since I jumped on board her train, and I'm looking forward to her mentorship to be able to bring you even more from Transformational Tuesdays and some other ventures that I have up my sleeve, so to speak. So let me introduce you to Adrienne Graham. She is the founder and CEO of Empower Me Corporation. And you can go to empowerme.org and see all about it. It's a growth strategy consultancy for high growth companies. She provides strategic growth consulting services to companies and high growth potential to assist clients in creating processes and strategies to effectively scale, run, grow, and position your business for success. She is the founder of Mogul Chicks, M-O-G-U-L-C-H-I-X, LLC, an organization that works specifically with female founders to build scalable companies and attract investors. Adrienne is also an avid techie, dedicated to promoting diversity in the tech community, and she is steadily building her empire one company at a time. She is a mentor for a straight shot accelerator in Omaha, Nebraska, which helps guide startups into successfully launched ventures. You can view her websites at mogulchicks.com, empowerme.org. Get with her on Twitter at Talent Diva on Twitter. And Adrienne, welcome to Transformational Tuesdays. I'm excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me back.
You're so welcome. You bring so much information for women who, in this day and age, are really looking to build their companies. I'm not going to say build their businesses, because last time you told me we are not building businesses, ladies. We're building companies.
You're building companies.
Yes, indeed. So today we're going to talk about this is really interesting for women, because I know that we like to give ourselves away, give our information away, give our skills and talents away for nothing. We are ones to do that. I love, first I want to reference your book. Adrienne has a great book out. It's called No, You Can't Pick My Mind. It costs too much. I love the title. She lives by that. So today's conversation is, don't be afraid to say you want to make money. And we are in business to make money. And I'll just give you a little overview of what we're going to talk about. And we are, as I said, in business to make money, preferably while making a profit. But as women, we're often caught up in our emotions and worry about whether or not we're charging too much or by trying to give away much more than we charge for. Comes a limit to how much means value before it becomes like a flood of stuff that you should be paid for, my opinion. So that's one of the obstacles encountered when trying to take our companies to new levels. We don't get taken seriously as businesswomen until we're taken seriously financially. So on today's call, today's episode, I keep saying call because I did that for so long. On today's show, okay, we're going to talk about building the confidence to not only charge what you're worth, but to create a company that commands premium pricing and how we can change the money conversation. We'll also examine how changing those money conversations impact how we attract investment dollars. And when you sent me that as an overview for what we were doing, I made sure to tell everybody to get their notebook and their pens ready because it's a conversation that we all need to have. So Adrienne, welcome again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Glad to
welcome.
be here.
So is there any thought that you want to start with after I read what you have given me?
I guess let's work backwards. You know, a lot of women, not every woman, obviously, a lot of women feel intimidated by the money conversation. They feel that at a certain level, you're not allowed to have that conversation. Oh, I'm making a 5-figure business. Oh, I have a 6-figure business. Oh, I'm just, barely making a profit. No, the money conversation needs to be had at the very beginning. The moment you decide you want to open a business, a company, grow and found a company, the money conversation needs to be front and center. Everyone focuses on the product, the service, the brand. No, you are not in business if you're not generating revenue. And I think a lot of us get stunted by that conversation because it's like, okay, I haven't proven myself yet, but by the same token, I have this great idea, this great company, this great service, this great product, but no one's paying me for it, but I know it's worth a lot of money. So we just make ourselves go round and round and round, and we end up becoming depleted emotionally, financially, and spiritually. And that had happened to me, which was the catalyst for me writing No, You Can't Pick My Brain. But as female founders, as women entrepreneurs, we need to be comfortable with the conversation of money in terms of revenue generation, in terms of profit. Profit's not a dirty word. And in terms of our own personal finance. So we need to take control of those conversations, not just limited to group talk on Facebook or, great websites to talk about financial planning, but actually live it and breathe it and not be afraid to have the conversations about money. So that's what I wanted to open with.
Perfect. And so with that being said, I want to ask you, since we talked about the pick your brain in the book, and you just said the same thing. So how do you manage the people who say that they want to pick your brain? How do you either avoid that conversation or put them in a position where they can then go pay for what you would have given them had you had that pick your brain conversation?
Right. Well, first, I decided to eliminate picking my brain, took it off the table. There'll be a lot of times, I know many of your viewers and listeners have had this, where people will call them and say, hey, let's go to lunch or let's go get some coffee. I just want to pick your brain a little bit. I just have a couple of questions. They try to diminish it like it's, just a few questions. This is nothing important. Just if you can answer these few questions, it will mean the world to me. 9 times out of 10, what I found is it's a full-scale consultation, or they want you to give them a blueprint to what they should do to solve their problem. If you're in the business, a service business especially, to solve problems, you don't give that away. You have to set very stringent guidelines and say, listen, if it were me, this is what I would do, and give them a very brief, general, what you would do. Don't go into detail. Don't give them a step-by-step. Because then when you see the notepad come out and you start writing those furiously, and don't get me wrong, there are times when I don't mind that. I want everyone to take notes when I speak. But you didn't hire me to do your job for you. So when you start thinking about it in those terms, it makes it easier for you to say, no, let's schedule a consultation. Or no, let's schedule some time where we can we can talk more and figure out if I'm the person to help you with your problem. By deflecting it that way, you minimize it a little bit. Some of them are going to get a little gruff and a little attitude-ish, and, well, I only wanted to ask a couple of questions. Well, my clients ask questions as well. They deserve that time. They're paying for that time. I find that I get it a lot from family members and friends especially, who figure it's just Adrienne. That's my friend. That's my cousin. That's my, and you have to make them respect the fact that you're a businesswoman, first and foremost. They're coming to you because they don't have the answer. They probably have Googled it and can't find the answer, and they don't have the solutions. They're looking to you. That's worth a price. So you have to be strong in setting a price for that. I won't let you pick my brain. However, if it were me, I would do X, Y, and Z. If you need further expounding on this, or if you need someone to help you figure this out or walk through this with you or help you to develop this, my rate is, and I work by these terms. Do not be afraid to have that conversation. I think for women, we're afraid of hearing, what? I don't want to pay for that, or no, that's too much for me. Oh, I just had a couple of questions. I didn't need a consultation. And we're afraid to have that conversation. But you look at a lot of the companies that have made million and billion-dollar status, they didn't have that by bartering and negotiating. Well, if you just answer these questions, that's all I need. No, you pay for that. You don't walk into Walmart and say, I don't feel like spending $6 on this steak. How about I give you $3 today? No, you don't do that. So you have to, and I have to use these analogies because it's not enough to just say it to women. I have to give them the full-blown perspective of it. You are worthy of what your skill set commands. Mm-hmm. So when you set that price, stick to it, and then you'll have less people coming to you to pick your brain. They'll be coming to you to pay you to help them solve a problem.
Right. And that's so important. And use a word a couple of times that I want people to realize and pay attention to. You said just. I'm just Adrienne. You're just Adrienne. You just want to ask a couple of questions. That right there devalues who you are. And the word just, you talk to people. So, when you meet somebody, so what do you do every day? Oh, I'm just a mom. No, hey, mom is a really big job today. Pay attention to the word just, because it degrades your value. And I clearly got that. In what you were saying a couple of minutes ago. So moving from the conversation of not picking your brain, how do you compete? How do you decide, first of all, and I know that we're going to have a discussion about the sweet spot in your pricing, but how do you begin to develop a pricing, or how do you compete with others that are doing the same thing that you might be offering or something very similar, and they want to charge less or they want to charge greatly more? Can you give us any pointers on how to deal with that situation as people are developing services and products to earn, start adding to their bottom line?
Right. Well, you have to look at the value it provides. What problem is it solving? Is it just merely giving information? Anybody can get information. So you have to figure out what differentiates you before you can start your pricing. Everybody has an ebook. Everybody has a video series. Everybody has webinars. Well, not everybody, I don't do them, but you know what I mean. Most people have these things. So when you're thinking from a consumer standpoint, it's, okay, am I going to get some more of the same? What's making this different? What question is this going to answer for me? What problem is this going to solve for me? What is this going to make me take action and move on? You have to think about it in that terms, from the consumer perspective. A lot of people make the mistake, and this is men and women, they make the mistake of looking at, well, my competition is priced at this point, and this person is priced at this point. It's never about price. When you, and write this down, please, when you try to compete on price, you will lose every single time. I always relate, and I said this the last time I was on, the story about, are you a Walmart, a Target, or a Neiman Marcus business?
Love that.
I tell people all the time, think about it. If you're a Neiman Marcus brand, a Neiman Marcus type company, and I don't mean that in the literal sense, I mean as far as the level of excellence that you set for your services, your products, your customer, your clientele. If you're in Neiman Marcus status, why are you trying to appeal to the Walmart crowd? The Walmart crowd, you may get one or two people from the Walmart crowd that may come and say, okay, I want to, see what that's about. No disrespect to Walmart. Please don't send your goons after me, okay? I shop at Walmart occasionally, okay? So it's no disrespect. But you have to know what level you're at. The second thing is, when you're setting your pricing, don't merely look at, okay, well, if I price this product at $20 and I bought it wholesale at $10, I'll make a $10 profit. Throw that thinking out of your mind. A lot of people use that old pricing model. It does not work. And I don't want to get into different formulas because that's something Teresa will learn about later when we do our program. But it's not enough to say total cost minus cost of goods, that's my profit. You have to look at, again, what value does this provide? What problem does this solve? Take a look at what people are willing to pay to have certain pain points taken away.
Say that again.
People pay for certain pain points to be taken away. That's what they pay, or convenience. They want to know, is this going to make me feel better? Is this going to make me do better? Is this going to make me make more money? In the case of my clientele, is this going to help me make more money? If it's merely for informational purposes, they're not going to empty their wallets for you. They're not going to write those checks. They have to see a value in it for them. So again, going back to my other point, always think with the customer in mind, not your bank account. When you think about what the customer has in mind, then you think about the special skills that you bring to the table that solves this problem better than anyone else. It's not enough to say, well, I offer consulting, I offer products, I offer these services. No, how are we going to create a situation or create a solution for our clientele that's going to go above and beyond to solve their problems and give them a little bit extra, and what is that worth? That's how you start paring down what you need to charge for your services.
Awesome. So many key points. I hope you were writing, ladies. I wrote down, don't compete for price. You lose every time. What value does this provide? What problem does it solve? People pay for certain pain points to be taken away, and pay attention really to what your customer needs. And those are like just unbelievable. I get chills in my body. So let's talk about the social entrepreneurship piece in relation to what you just said and heart-centered business, because nowadays, and what you said is really important. People buy you in the end. So one of my big conversations is to show up authentically who you are, and people will look at who you are. Are you in integrity? The 4 agreements come into play here. So if you have not read the 4 agreements, make sure that you do. Are you in integrity? Are you somebody that they can trust? So in this conversation about heart-centered business and social entrepreneurship, how do I set my pricing so that it's fair but also profitable, keeping in mind the key points that you just reviewed?
Right. Well, always go back to the key points in the last point that I made. But I don't want to say there's a problem with social entrepreneurship, because it's not. It's wonderful. There's a saying that my dad used to say: you can't clean anyone else's house until you take care of your own first. And I apply that to social entrepreneurship. A lot of times people want to solve problems or start these companies that help give a hand back when they haven't figured out how to build a company themselves. Mm-hmm. And a lot of social entrepreneurship is wonderful, well-intended, but they end up going out of business or midway flipping their model, where they start having to charge more or charge where they haven't been able to charge before, because they don't take into account the cost to grow and run and maintain a company. It's a wonderful gesture, but you are business people first and foremost. Before you start offering anything to give away or to dramatically discount, you have to figure out, am I going to be able to cover my expenses to deliver this? Is this going to require more of delivery from me personally than if I charge for it? Because remember, when you're doing something that, and a lot of people throw that heart-centered, socially conscious terms around when they're trying to promote their businesses as if it's a big thing. There's Tom's is one that I can consider is really truly the authentic representation of a social company, social entrepreneurship, because of their give and take. you have to buy something so that they can provide it and also give away to someone else. So they're killing two birds with one stone. You have other companies who try to say, oh, I love that concept of social entrepreneurship. I want to do that. I want to help people. I want to give away. Help and give away are two deadly words in business because people take advantage of that. So they end up overextending themselves. Then they find themselves in the pick my brain category where people come to them and they expect it for free. And then they have a harder time adjusting when they say, okay, we need to meet expenses. We need to put on our big girl pants and figure out how to make this company profitable. Even if it's a nonprofit, still needs to generate revenue. So when you're thinking about starting social entrepreneurship, social companies or heart-centered companies, you're still a business person. Always think about how you're going to sustain the company. Look at food banks, for example. I mean, it's kind of different, but the same. It's in a right place, but it's the minute they run out of funding, the minute they run out of outside help, they're not able to serve their customers. So you always have to have a business plan in place. You always have to have a pricing model in place, and you always have to have an offset. Whatever you're giving away, you have to have equally as much you're charging for. So I hope that answers that question and puts that in perspective for you.
Yeah, because that's another, and what you said is, help and give away are two deadly words in business. And I think as women, that's really important for people to pay attention to, because that's not what you're in business for. Yes, that may be part of your business model and giving and setting aside a certain percentage to charitable organizations or a cause that you support or whatever. But the bottom line is you've got to have that revenue to start with. Otherwise, there will be nothing to give away. So. Speaking of giveaway, how do I find a balance in giving away enough to get people familiar with what my talents are and what gifts and what problems I solve, but do not so much that they don't feel that they need to pay me and fall back into the pick your brain conversation again. So,
right. Well, there's two things that I can offer for that. First one, I'll use myself as an example. I've done a plethora of things to help grow companies, and that no two clients are ever the same. I have different issues with different clients. Same thing with my mentees. First of all, as far as giving away mentoring, I only do that under the confines of the accelerator that I work with. That's Straight Shot in Omaha, Nebraska, straightshot.co. And I mentor the companies that go through that program. I also, as an offshoot to that, I go and reach out to companies that I feel have promise and potential that may not be asking for help. They may be struggling or just something is not clicking for them. And I will seek them out and volunteer to mentor them. I don't answer mentor requests. That's just a rule that I have because I'd be mentoring the whole world every day. I would never get to work. I would never be able to make any money. And I would never be able to have time to do things that I need to do.
Right.
So I'm flattered and I'm happy. I direct them to content on the web that I've written or that colleagues have written. I direct them to podcasts. I direct them to old videos that I've put up because I would love to think or believe that most of the content that I've shared over the years is evergreen. Most of it, with the exception of a couple of things. So it's applicable to almost every situation. So I have no problem with directing them to my old content. I tell them that, these are my rates for whatever it is that they need. I don't do free consultations. I do paid consultations. Before we even get to that level, we have a discovery session where I can hear your problem and determine if I'm the person to solve that problem for you. If not, I will give you a recommendation. I'm not giving you answers. I'm not giving you strategy. I'm not giving you a blueprint of how to solve a problem. It's just to hear your problem and see if I'm that person. That is the crucial part. And please write this down. Stop giving away consultations. People love to throw that word out there. I'll do a free consultation with you. No, you will not. Because a consultation, unless you're very skilled and you know the right questions to ask, and I implore you to learn about behavioral interviewing. It served me so handy when I was a recruiter and had my recruiting companies, and it translated into the business that I do now. So when you have behavioral interviewing skills, you can determine, I can determine in the first 5 minutes of a conversation if I'm the person to help someone or if I need to refer them to someone else. It takes practice. The other thing I would tell you is when you don't have, of course, like the experience that I had, the years of business experience that I have, when you're just starting out and you're just coming into the business world, you have to build your credibility. I get that and I understand that. Instead of consultations and instead of trying to mentor or give away free this, free that, free whatever, try going on different platforms and speaking. Speaking engagements would really be able to help you showcase what your talent and your skill set is. Put yourself on podcasts, be interviewed, allow yourself to be a subject matter expert. And here's the other thing about that piece. No matter how big or small the media outlet, do not turn it down or turn your nose up to it, because you don't know today's small podcast may end up being tomorrow's giant media company.
Yes.
You never know. So those are ways that you can give, and I use finger quotes, give away your expertise and help people get some knowledge of you, but don't make that offer to, hey, let me sit down for free with you for a 30-minute consultation and, we'll see what we can do. No. Save your sanity and save your value.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, a lot of us get tripped up in that. I mean, I stopped doing the free consultations, and anytime somebody says pick my brain, they want to pick my brain, I think of your book title, and I'm like, no, that's not happening. But so that being said, first of all, I want to let everybody know we are at the half-hour mark, and if you have a question for Adrienne and I can see you, just raise your hand and I'll open your line. If you are on the phone and you want to have a question for Adrienne, just dial this, actually text this number, 570-230-4185, and I will open your line for that conversation. I still haven't figured out, because I can't tell if people are in via the Zoom app or whether they've just dialed in. I can't figure out how to get them to raise their hands yet in this format, but we'll figure that out so that we won't have to ask that again. But so if you have a question and I can see you, just raise your hand and I'll give you the floor. And if you're on the phone, 570-230-4185, just text me. So Adrienne, now that all that's been said,
okay,
let's say I'm not comfortable about talking about money.
Mm-hmm.
How do I have these conversations early into a business relationship without scaring potential clients away? How do you start the money conversation? This is huge for a lot of people.
Well, take the onus off of yourself and ask them what their budget is.
Love it.
Talk a lot about that question. What's your budget? And if they say budget, I don't have a budget, then you're dealing with the wrong person. All jokes aside, that is a valid question. I always start the conversation off, well, what's your budget? Because that does two things. That lets me know, number one, what they're really ready for, if they're willing to spend that money to solve whatever problem it is. And number two, it lets me know what services or mix of services I can offer them to help them solve their problem and at what level. So, a lot of people, I don't want to use the C word, I was going to say coaches, but a lot of people will say, have a low price, a mid price, and a top range thing, give them three options. Life doesn't work that way. It depends on the type of company you're dealing with. The type of companies that I deal with, they have such a range of issues, from future staffing issues to, correcting their operations, to getting their brand reboot, to optimize their services or products, to figure out how to expand globally, locally, nationally, whatever. So it depends on what the problem is. I have different price points for whatever they need done. It also depends on how intensely the services are needed. Do they need me to get things set up and train their team so that they can take over and I can step away? Do they need someone to step in and roll up their sleeves and take over the project and build it up for them and maintain it for a while until they're ready to take over? Do they want something that's done for you where we're managing or outsourcing it? So there is no small, medium, large package from my clientele. It depends on who you work with and how you work with them. Mm-hmm. The other thing to that is, after you have the budget conversation, if they are not in your price range, you could do one of two things. First one, it's up to you. I don't tell you what to do. But if you feel that, this company has promised, this founder, this client has promised, and I know they can do great things if they work with me, and you want to work with them on a minimal basis and kind of spread out the payments or reduce your rate, then that's what you can do. If you feel that this is a company worthy of working with, and it's with the intentions of establishing a long-term relationship with them. This is not those one and done clients. You can also determine, hey, you know what? This doesn't work. You don't fit into our price range for what we offer. You need more help than what you realize. When you're ready, then you can come back to me. In the meantime, you can do X, Y, and Z to get yourself ready so that when you are at that level, you can come back and work with me. So you're taking it off of making yourself nervous and saying, oh, well, I need to talk to you about the money. No, that's how a lot of people don't get paid, where they don't have that money conversation up front. A lot of people will tell you when you're consulting with the client or you're starting a project with the client, oh, talk about money last. You don't want to waste your time, because if you get through the whole conversation and they can't afford you and they're not going to make a way to afford you, and you should not be trying to guilt them into working with you.
Yeah.
The whole, well, you have credit cards. You can use multiple credit cards. Oh, well, can you borrow it? No. Financial integrity. We all need to have that. No one should be badgering or guilting anyone into working with them. So you have to be big enough and comfortable enough to say, you know what? I can't take this client. I'm going to have to pass. When you're at this level, or when you've accomplished X, Y, and Z, let's revisit the conversation. Put a time limit, 6 months, a year, or whatever it is. Let's see if we can work together then. And it takes.
I love the way that you did that, because what you did was you said, do this, X, Y, and Z. You've already given them value by pointing them in the direction that they need to go in order to be able to take the next step and then come back to you. So it's my experience, and tell me whether or not this is true for you, but it's my experience, when you have given somebody some direction and they've not paid you a dime, that's called value. And they're going to remember that, so that when they have to come back to you, when they need somebody to take the next step, you're the person they're going to come back to.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you've established a trust relationship with them.
Exactly.
That's what that is. And they're going to continue watching. They're going to continue. I have people that have been with me since the beginning who started out maybe the first 2 or 3 years just watching, listening to my podcast, reading my blogs, whatever. And then after 2, 3 years, called me up, you know what? I'm ready. You're the person. I know I want to work with you. And I'm like, okay, how do we know you're ready? Let's see what makes you ready to work with me. Where are you now? And we go through things. And if they've done certain things off the checklist, then okay, as long as they have the budget for it, we'll do it. But I will not, as an ethical thing for me, I will not work with a company who financially cannot afford to work with me. If working with me puts you further in debt where you can't recover, then I won't do it. I won't do it. And the other side to that is, if you're in a service business, you should be providing valuable services and providing solutions and solving those problems so that it eliminates or alleviates that financial piece of it. So if I do something like a turnaround project is what I call it, where I'm helping a company to turn around, they haven't been generating much revenue, but I've increased their sales 150%, or I got they have other streams of revenue generated now, and they're coming in and flowing into the business, and they have great positive cash flow. Yes, I provided a value, which means they can now afford to move forward and pay and do what they need to do to work with me to take it to the next level. So,
great example. So, how do you, now we talked about getting comfortable with the money. We talked about a whole bunch of different stuff, and I'm shocked that nobody has a question. I'm shocked that nobody.
Maybe I'm giving too much.
So I just got somebody text me and said you're sharing great content. So thank you so much for that. Yes, indeed. And then somebody else just said, hang on a second here. I'm loving this. What is a good way to test the need for your service or your market? What is, what is the best way, a good way to test the need for your service in a particular market?
Find that particular market. That's the starting point. I think a lot of times we're taught, business people, and this is not just a woman thing, we're taught, and I'm probably going to get crucified for this, we're taught this funnel system. You know, Teresa, I keep it straight with no chaser.
Right, straight, no chaser. Love it.
We're growing companies. We're not playing business. We're growing companies. But a lot of times people put you into this, build a funnel. Let's funnel it down, funnel it down, funnel it down. And then the bottom 3 people, maybe out of 1,000 people, will be the ones to work with you. Listen, I don't know about you guys. I don't have that kind of time. I do not have that kind of time to invest in all that energy in 1,000 people to only have 3 customers. So in the very beginning, you need to be very clear about who your target customer is. Who is your client? Put a name on her. I call mine Deborah. I have to find out what kind of customer is Deborah? Is Deborah going to be the person that I'm going to have problems with? Or is Deborah going to be the kind of person that I have a project I can sink my teeth into? When you get to a level where you have a client, they come to you, you have that initial discovery session, you know that you guys can work together, and you're eager to work on this project because it fits your skill set, and it fits in alignment with what you offer, then it's cake from there. Then you know you have your ideal customer. Too many times we spend the time chasing customers, and I don't do the whole marketing thing with the inbound versus outbound or whatever. I prefer to have my people come to me by referral. You rarely see social media ads from me. Rarely. I get most of my clientele is from word of mouth or because of appearances like this on Transformational Tuesdays or speaking engagements or things that I've done where they see the value I provide, and the people that I've worked with, they sing my praises for me. So that's how you figure it out. I don't want any of you listening to, it depends. Well, if you want and you feel comfortable and you like the funnel system and you have that kind of time, knock yourselves out. I personally do not like that method because I'd rather be tailoring my message for that small group, that niche of people who I know that I need to work with and I can work with and who are ready to work with me. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, Donette, thank you for that question. That was a great answer, which brings up a question that I have in direct relation to what you just said. So I'm going to the funnel system for just a second. Mm-hmm. Does that work? Will that work well, even keeping everything that you said in mind? Will that work well for programs that you have either via downloadable digital products, webinars, audios, or things like that people can utilize in building their business? Does that still work for that type of model?
I can't speak to that. I'm not the person to speak to that. I think you would need to talk to someone who's in online marketing. That's not my thing. But what I will offer is this. Think about the investment, and I'm not just talking about the money investment, but the time investment and how much energy you invest. Think about the investment. Look at the numbers. Are you getting a great conversion? If you're not converting, if you're getting 1,000 people that says, oh my God, this is great, and let me sign up and get this free audio or whatever, and then they never take action after that, that's a problem. There's a deficit there. You have to dissect and understand it. Same thing with newsletters. And I used to do newsletters on a weekly basis. I don't do them anymore because I don't have that much to say these days. I'm so busy. But I look at it like this. Every quarter, I clean my list. If a person has not been opening my emails, if I don't hear from them, if it's no longer, the content that I share is no longer valid to them or relates to them, I delete them from my list. A lot of people put a heavy emphasis on, grow these big lists and that's where the money is. No, if they're not buying, no, it's not where it is. And I don't want to make this an assassination on online marketing and funnel building and list building and things like that, because it does work for some people if you have that kind of time, but it depends on the kind of company you're running. The things, and Teresa, you're the only one here that knows what I'm working with right now. So I don't have time to build lists and build content and get free audio and worry about, oh, well, let me convert this person. No, because everything isn't for everybody. So
Right.
the more, back to my other point, the more you super target who your client is, Deborah is my client, the more you super target on that type of person and then get in the areas where they are, where you can get their eyes and ears, you'll do so much better because you're targeted and you're dealing with the people who need, want, and can afford what you have to offer.
So I'm going to ask the question that everybody's thinking but it's not asking at this point. So what are some of the things you can tell us that would help us to define our Deborah, if you will, in our market and what we have to offer? So are there specific questions that we need to ask? Are there certain things we need to say? Can you give us maybe even just 2 little bits of information that would help us in defining?
Of course. I'll give you an exercise, and everybody needs to do this tonight. And I want you to email me, Adrienne at mogulchicks.com, when you've done this exercise. I do this whenever, if it comes up when I do a speaking engagement, I always give the room this exercise. And I can't share too much because some of this is what I'm sharing with my Mogul Chicks, and I can't give you guys everything. Yeah. But this exercise that I put together is have a conversation. You know, if you had to step out of yourself and you're Deborah, what are some of the things that Deborah is looking for? You know, let's take, let's say Deborah is looking to grow her business because she had all these contracts and she's short on manpower. So Deborah needs to recruit people. I have recruited, I do staffing planning and development as part of my services. So here's what I would sit down and think. Okay, so first of all, we decided what Deborah needs. Deborah needs staffing services. Okay, let's see what level of staffing does Deborah need. So I'm going to ask Deborah, I'm going to put together a series of questions to find out about Deborah's project that makes her need this extra staff. Then I'm going to find out, well, how technology-wise, how is she solving her problem of getting people? I'm going to look to, is she interviewing them herself or is she going to have someone else interview for her? What kind of applicant tracking system does she have in place? Is she big enough or small enough where she can have one, and what kind can I implement for her? I've already decided based on her project what her needs are and how I fit in. Then I'm going to look at, well, what is Deborah's typical budget for something like this? Or what is a typical client's budget like this? How does that match up? Is this something that I'm willing to work with at this level? Is it going to net me a great profit? And am I going to be able to help her build an efficient recruitment system? Will she need extra things such as she needs a process written out? Does she need someone to come on site to help her? Or can I manage that remotely? So you have to dig deep in these. It's no longer just about how old is Deborah? Is Deborah married? Does Deborah have discretionary? No, unless you are running like a lifestyle brand or something where it's a luxury or nice to have, those things don't come into play. You have to get down to the brass tacks about what kind of company Deborah has, what company needs does Deborah have, and how do you fit in and solve those problems? That's how you start to build out. So you have that conversation, you step out of yourself, and you talk to Deborah and ask her these questions that relate to whatever the service. And I just use recruiting as an example. The second part of that is personality-wise. I said to myself a long time ago, there are certain people I just will not work with. If they are not open to feedback or criticism, I'm not working with them. If they're afraid to try something new and refuse to move the needle, I'm not going to work with them. You can be afraid, but still step out on that fear anyway. Those are the type of people that I work with. I'm not going to work with someone who is so stubbornly afraid and frozen that they don't want to get out of that. So you got to look at your comfort zone when you're building out who Deborah is, And then the third part of that, well, the third is many more, but the third part I would add to that is what kind of person, what kind of experience will you have in working with Deborah? Is it a possibility that Deborah can bring you additional clients? Are there other things that you can do in Deborah's company that piggyback off of the initial contract that you have with Deborah? And do you see Deborah as a long-term client, or is she just a one-off, one-time project? So those are ways that you can start building the foundation of who your client is and go after those types of clients. And you can do this with each service that you offer. So it doesn't have to be, of course, my staffing development services are different than my, operations planning or growth strategies. So you just create that conversation with Deborah for each service that you offer that's different, not the ones at the next level. We're not talking about that. We're talking about different tracks, different types of services that you offer. So I hope that helps.
Oh my God, that was awesome. I have 2 pages of notes. Yeah, because I think that one of the ways that we get tripped up in finding out who is our quote unquote ideal client or who is our Deborah is we don't ask the right questions. We don't step out of the situation and ask ourselves if I have the capacity and the capability and the desire. Because what you said, personality-wise, if you don't fit with somebody, if they're not going to be open to what you're suggesting, you're just batting your head against the wall. And though they may be giving money to you, I've been in situations where I've wanted to give that money back and say, hey, go see somebody else because I can't deal with you.
And you put yourself in the position that because they didn't succeed, because they didn't follow directions, they can turn around and trash you. And the internet is a small but a big place. Yeah. And all it takes is one person to say, you know what, well, so-and-so didn't deliver what they said, and I'm still sitting in the same situation I was in before. And yeah, you don't, don't ever put yourself in a situation. You have to decide if this is worth it. I would rather work with a $10,000 client who I know is ready and they're open-minded and are like, okay, let's roll up the sleeves and work, than to take a $100,000 client that's going to fight me every step of the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't go based on money. It's great to have the big companies. Like I have a policy. I will not work with Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies because, well, first of all, a lot of them take up to 120 days to pay. I don't play that, okay? A lot of them try to bargain you down and negotiate discounts on the thing. That's in my, and let me throw this at you too. This is a bonus, you guys. Don't give a discount unless it's coming from you. Don't do it because they ask you or say, well, if you give us a discount, we'll give you more business. If you were going to give me more business, you would do it regardless if I gave you a discount or not. So don't fall for that trap that, oh, well, if I give them a 10% discount, a 20% discount, they'll give me all their business. That contract can end like that.
Yeah.
So do not put yourself into a situation where you have a difficult customer who is going to bargain you down on the price, try to get discounts, and try to undercut you and use mind games on you to try to get you to do what they want you to do.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Because in my experience, it's one of the things that a lot of people don't know about me is I'm a potter. I make beautiful ceramic art. Once in a while, you hear me call myself a clay brain. But anyhow, I find it really interesting that, like, at shows and whatnot, if I happen to be there, they play that bargaining game. And it goes back to what you said at the beginning of this conversation. Decide, are you Walmart, Target, or Neiman Marcus? If anybody looks at my pottery, I'm a Neiman Marcus person. The area that I live in does not bring Neiman Marcus prices, so I make allowances for that. So the thing is that when somebody's got that, when somebody knows what they're buying, and this is relative, this maybe is an example of a piece of pottery, but it's also what finishes the conversation, what you just said about knowing your client and then also giving discounts. People know what they're buying. By the time they're ready to put their money on the table, they know what they're buying. And if you can see exactly what's before you, and you can see the value of what's before you, in my case, it would be the quality of what is before you. And the quality goes along with this conversation in getting a client as well, regardless of what you're putting on the table. If they know the value, if they see the quality, and then they turn around and ask you for a discount, I have to tell you, it's like taking a punch in the stomach.
Yeah, that's the society that we live in, though. And I have a saying, I tell people, I don't care about the economy. The economy does not dictate what I do, how I do it, or when I do it, and how profitable I'm going to be. Because in every market, I don't care what market it is, there's always a potential to make money. And I'll use real estate as an example. A lot of people think, I can't sell property because my prices are falling and, I'll never get a good price for my house. Well, what other ways can you get cash out of your house? You could turn it into a rental. You can do a lease to option where you find a buyer and lease it out to option it to buy later. There's always ways. There are always ways, and that's just, there's many other examples. You can take your home, and depending on the area. I'm in Florida, so of course I can do this out here. You can take your home and turn it into a vacation rental property, short-term vacation rental. There's so many things. Look at the innovation. Let's take it bigger scale. Look at the innovation that has come out. Taxis, where people were like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. A cab, especially if you're in New York. I'm born and raised in New York, so I understand. Taxis are so expensive. What did they do? Uber shook up the entire taxi industry. Yeah. Now you have Lyft, you have Uber. Then you have another one, I can't remember the name of it. It's a woman-founded company, and I'm ashamed that I don't remember the name of it. But they founded the same concept for women. Shook up the taxi industry. The medallion industry is just, they're crazy. Airbnb came, shook up the hotel industry. Now you, and I can share this because one of my clients, I won't say their names, but one of my hotel clients that I worked with previously, their big luxury resort, now they're getting into the same game that the Airbnb people are getting into. They're buying up condos and all. So don't think that because the economy hits at a certain time and certain things are happening, that it means something that the end of the world. This is why I tell people, and I know you guys see me posting on Twitter and all these other things, pay attention to what's going on in the business world. I know y'all gonna hate this, but Fox Business, MSNBC, CNBC, Bloomberg, all of these stations that you have access to, the internet, all of this, pay attention to what's going on. I bet some of you don't even understand about the Brexit that's going on now, about Great Britain leaving the European Union and potentially collapsing the market there. Well, I have some clients that have operations out in the UK and in other areas of the EU. And they're worried, like, okay, how am I going to scramble? What am I going to do? What is this going to be about the value of the dollar? Now, this doesn't apply to a lot of people that are probably watching this, but it's stuff that you have to know about because it helps you reframe the way that you think. It helps you say, okay, they're saying the job numbers are bad, the economy is bad, employers are not hiring, small businesses are not getting loans. Let's see what I can do to reinvent myself and still be able to grow my company during this time. That's the true test of an entrepreneur.
And that's what you call creating your own economy. Yep. Exactly. Sure. So would you believe our hour is almost gone? I would love for you to talk a little bit about Mogul Chicks and tell people, if they're interested in learning more, how they can connect with you and possibly become part of the event that you have coming up in Florida. So let's tell them a little bit more about Mogul Chicks and see if it's something that anyone who's listening might be interested in learning more about.
Thank you.
I know I'm excited about this.
I'm excited.
I'm excited about this.
Well, Mogul Chicks, first of all, thank you for having me on, and thank you to everyone who is listening and for the comments. I truly appreciate you, and I hope you got value out of what I shared today. But I know that for me, Mogul Chicks is something that's near and dear to heart. You can go to mogulchicks.com, mogulchix.com, and read about it. But basically, in a nutshell, Mogul Chicks is a community and growth accelerator program that helps female founders grow and scale their companies and get them to the level to where they're investment ready. The biggest conversation in the media and in social media today is, we can't find anybody any female founded companies that are worthy of investment. Well, with Mogul Chicks, we take that away. We take that excuse away from them because there are many, many great companies out there. Food, tech, beauty, cosmetics, skincare, retail, anything you can think of. that are great. They just don't have the tools to make their company solid enough where an investor will say, hey, I want to invest in that company and scale it and grow it. So we created Mogul Chicks to make sure that we help these companies get to that level, get them scalable, help them grow, and make them investment worthy. Even if they don't, I want them, my goal hopefully is to get them so profitable they don't need an investor. But by the same token, when an investor sees that there's an opportunity with the company and there's an opportunity to make money, that's when they throw money at them. I don't want female founders chasing dollars anymore. So I want to eliminate that from there. They call me the armchair Shark Tank analyst. I know some of you see me tweeting on Shark Tank Fridays. That's what I am. And if you look at my Straight Shot bio, it says I'm an armchair Shark Tank analyst. But, you know, all jokes aside, it's something that I've developed. I came up with it a couple of years ago and was so against doing it just for women. And one of my good friends and mentors told me, you're crazy. You need to do this for women. So I decided to create Mogul Chicks, and this is what we're doing. So go to this site. We have an event coming up, the kickoff event, the Mogul Chicks Mastermind Weekend, the July Intensive is what we're doing. The weekend of July 22nd, 23rd, 24th in Miami, Florida at the Doubletree Convention Center. And that is going to be 3 days of just intensity and don't sweat when I say this, Teresa, but I'm going to work all of you guys out in this intensive. And it's exactly that, an intensive. It's just a little peek into what you get in the full Mogul Chicks program, which is 6 months. The membership is a year, but the program itself is 6 months concentrated. But it's to really change the way you think. You know, it's not to recruit you to join the membership, but to really get you to change the way you think about your business and start implementing on the 24th of July, from that day on, changing the way you do business. So I hope you guys can come out. And I have a little surprise that I didn't tell Teresa about. But for people who are listening to Mogul Chicks, to the Transformational Tuesday and your members, I'm going to offer this. Until July 19th, if they want to join Mogul Chicks, the membership is $4,800 for the first year because you get that education piece. And you also, as a bonus, will get an intensive on how to become an angel investor yourself, to make you an accredited investor to invest in other companies. But the program itself is 6 months. The membership is 1 year. The first year is $4,800. After that is $2,500 consecutive years after that for as long as you want to. And you get access to investors, vendors, channel partners, your peer groups, any education, ongoing education that we have. You get one-on-one consulting with myself and my other mentors. You have a full roster of mentors from the angel world, the VC world, from the business world, and anyone and everyone you can think of. We also were invited, Mogul Chicks as a collective was invited to Portugal in November for free. Just have to pay for your airfare, your expenses for travel, to join a conference that's going on where you're going to have a chance to talk to investors and potentially pitch them. So that's an added bonus that I didn't come up with, that was given to me, that I'm very happy about, and I'm announcing it. But for those of you who are watching, you get a $750 discount. You have to use the code Transformation, all lowercase. So when you go in and you sign up, you're going to go and it's going to be bit.ly/join Mogul Chicks. And you're going to put in the code Transformation, and you get an automatic $750 off of your first year. Or if you just want to come to the intensive in July, I'm offering $250 off. So you use the coupon code Teresa, all lowercase, and you get $250 off. That is until July 5th because we have headcount issues that we have to, with catering and everything. So if you want to come to the intensive the weekend of July 22nd, the regular price is $887, but if you're listening and you use the code Teresa, you will get the discount for $250 off of the Mogul Chicks intensive. Now, anybody who comes to the intensive and decides, I want to join Mogul Chicks, I need to go through this program, I want the access to investors and partners and whatever, that will be applied, that what you pay for the intensive will be applied to the $4,800. So you'll get that, reduce that from the $4,800. So that's what I'm offering. And if you sign up, I'll give you a free copy of No You Can't Pick My Brain.
Yeah. That's awesome. I am so excited about this intensive weekend. I'm so excited. Every time you come here, my notebook gets filled. I just take notes like crazy. Because a lot of us,
imagine what's going to happen when you start the program.
yeah, I know. So, and then I want to say something else too, because that Portugal thing was given, the opportunity was given to you. And I have to look at this from so many different standpoints. As I listen to all the different things that you've shared today, and then you top it off with the opportunity for anyone who's part of your program to go to Portugal and only pay their airfare and hotel and be involved in this incredible business opportunity, which I'm sure we'll learn about more. The thing is that when you start, it's my experience, and tell me if this is what happens. When you start stepping into your power, when you start using your gifts and talents, when you start putting it together to do things to change other people's lives and manifest those clients who are going to come to you, all of a sudden, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, says, good for you. Here's a bonus. And that's what happens. You attract all these great things. It's awesome.
Absolutely. You remember when I called you about Portugal?
Yes, I wish you were so excited.
I wasn't going to answer the phone that day because that was on Memorial Day. And I said, I'd rather have barbecue. I don't want to answer calls. I said, okay, well, let me answer the call anyway. And I was not prepared for that. And it's just further proof, like you said, when you come from a place in your heart and you truly want to help people, it's not just about you getting, and I said this, there's a difference between a boss, a mogul, and a power broker. A boss is someone, it's, hey, I'm making the rules. I have a company. I have a business. I'm doing this. I'm making money. A mogul is someone who can look at something and create opportunities, not just for themselves, but for other people too. And that's where I am. I love to create opportunities for other people. And like I said, this was unexpected for me. And doors have been opening up for me. There's so much more that you guys will learn about. The people who are members will learn about during the weekend and also during the program that it will just blow your mind. Mogul Chicks is mapped out until 2020. Okay, so that's how much stuff we have going on. And some things that I had put out there and said, okay, I want this by 2018. I want this by this. It's happening much sooner than I anticipated. And the one thing, and hopefully to not offend anyone, and if I do, okay, whatever, I have to. But for me, it's never been about, well, it used to be about, God, help me make a $100 million company. Help me do it. Now it's more so, Lord, please prepare me to be that person who is, number one, worthy of such a company, and number two, has the skill and the expertise and the ease, the steady hand to be worthy to run such a company. And he's heard me, and he is making that and opening that for me. And I just got chills just right now, and I have to praise him for real. Amen. I praise God for everything that's happening with Mogul Chicks right now. So thank you guys for letting me share my testimony.
Yeah, awesome. And I got chills too. So, it's just amazing what's going on. And I was introduced to Adrienne through a friend of mine who absolutely loved her book. It said, you got to read this, because she knew I was giving away the store for nothing. And so I got the book, and then I made a connection with Adrienne. And what a blessing you are, Adrienne. What a blessing you are to me and to all of the women whose lives are going to be being changed because you stepped up and stepped out and stood in your power and really listened to your intuition and listened to God to go ahead and do what you do best. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of our conversations today. And ladies, for all of you who have joined us, I just want to say thank you for coming to Transformational Tuesdays. Some of you are here for the very first time. I hope indeed you will come back. For those of you who want to listen to this conversation again, there are two ways you can do this. You will, because you registered for this event, you will get a link to the replay, the audio replay. And when you go on transformationaltuesdays.com, just click on the replay button. The audio and the video replay will be up there. We also have a video channel on YouTube, Transformational Tuesdays on YouTube. So there's lots of ways to revisit this conversation. And you may want to, because I know I was taking notes as fast as I can, and I know I didn't catch everything because, you can't listen and write at the same time. But It's been amazing. It's been amazing. And I hope that you will join us again for our next conversation. Thank you again, Adrienne Graham. Looking forward to all that is ahead. And we definitely will have you back after the launch of Mogul Chicks. Absolutely. And I'm excited about all of that happening on July 22nd to the 24th. And if I'm not mistaken, they're going to go to mogulchicks.com to register.
They're going to go to mogulchicks.com to read about Mogul Chicks.
Right.
To register to join Mogul Chicks, to join the program and join the membership, they're going to go to bit.ly, bit.ly/join Mogul Chicks. To go register for the weekend intensive in July, they can go to bit.ly/Mogul Chicks July 2016. So either one they can go to.
Okay, and if you register for the July event, you're going to use the coupon code Teresa, TERESA, all lowercase, for $250 off. And should you decide to take that huge leap and get in it for a year, you'll do that you'll get a discount on that of $750 using the code of transformation. So. Yeah. Thank you so much for that gift. That was a great surprise.
Well, I don't know if I said this already, but let's say you decide to sign up for the weekend intensive and not join. If after that weekend intensive you decide, you know what, yeah, I do want to join, we're going to credit what you paid for that, which would be $650. Whatever it is, I can't do the math. But that $600 and whatever it is, we'll credit that. So you deduct that from the $4,800.
Perfect. So I want to say thank you once again, and we hope you will join us again next week. Next week we have Dr. Hepsharat Ahmadi. She does quantum biofeedback, which is going to help get your body, your physicality, your spirit all in tune for what Adrienne is presenting to us. So I always bring guests to the conversation who have something transformational to offer to each and every one of our listeners. But until that time, I hope that you will have a great time this week enjoying your life and what I like to call the transformational trails. See you next time, everybody.
Thank you.